Hi, this is Vincent Ceja, and this is my video final. So, for starters, what's Stoicism like? The people who were taught Stoicism always thought of the worst scenarios or outcome situations in their head. They were basically taught to be pessimist at all times. They did this so they weren't disappointed when the worst outcome occurred. And if the best outcome were to happen, then they would be overcome with joy. On the other hand, we have the idea of Epicureanism, which taught students to live life in pleasure always, basically a complete opposite mindset as the Stoic teachings. The Epicureans got rid of relationships to avoid pain from heartbreak and replaced that with friendships, since those didn't really lead to intimate feelings that would end up leading to heartbreak. They also strive to not live in luxury, but to still have nice things, since those brought happiness. But the two philosophies did have things in common, and that was the overall goal to avoid excessive pleasures and desires. So, starting with the Stoics and how they would have acted. So, the Stoics' idealism of not putting too much attention on positive emotions and focusing on bad ones would lead to an overall depressing society. It's hard for me to imagine anyone being happy, always expecting the worst. I feel like this would put more pressure on everyone. For example, say that you were competing or in a battle with someone and go into it expecting to die. Wouldn't that put more stress on you by making you more worrisome rather than expecting to come out victorious or telling yourself words of encouragement? I'm also imagining the students that learn Stoic teachings are more intellectually advanced than others. They focus on more spiritual practices, speaking to the human soul, with the belief that the soul keeps on living even after death. It does make living not a worry for them. Regardless of if this happens or not, they all believe it does, which makes everything they do almost happen with a carefree attitude. They also incorporated a lot of logic into their teachings, making them look, again, smarter. They always just assume that things wouldn't happen, like entering a battle, having the mindset that it wouldn't even take place in the first place. And if it does, say strong winds make it harder for them to fight, that would make it all pointless in their eyes. So I also feel like they would be living as robots with their code of ethics. They were taught to pick out a specific goal or end to their lives, which to me just seems kind of forced. I don't know, their whole purpose to me just, it isn't there. So I wouldn't even see a point to living life, even if it's just to reach one goal. I think most people set new goals to reach every month, if not every week. I don't know, for me, that's how I am. But now looking at the Epicureans and how they live off of the initial video we watched, I thought honestly that we were learning about life on a college campus, living in the dorms, the way everything was in like close vicinity, all your friends and stuff like that. So everything felt so exact in the way they lived, focusing on happiness all the time, being around friends, living nice, but not too nicely, and staying positive at all times. I think too that everyone focusing on the Epicureanism would be very extroverted. All the students, that's how they would be. Because if you think about it, everyone living in the same household, always being around each other, always being able to communicate, I feel like that would help everyone's talking skills immensely. They'd all be amazing speakers. So I could also see everyone living in fear also, definitely more than the Stoics, since they were taught that once you die, your soul keeps on living and goes into this afterlife. When for the Epicureans, it's the complete opposite. Once you die, you're dead. You're no longer. So the amount of risks that the Epicureans might take on a day-to-day basis is probably a lot less, if I had to guess. Another common thing I think you would see with these teachings is everyone being grateful for the little things. When your focus is to maximize pleasure and to minimize pain, I can see these students always trying to be a positive or have a positive mindset, thinking of these positive outcomes, whatever the scenario is. So they might not be the smartest since their teachings are lacking overall logic, But I could still picture everyone kind of being like these kind of hippies, like 70s, 60s, whatever, without the drugs, of course. Um, so overall, I think I would like the Epicurean teachings more. I really enjoyed having a definition for the happiness we were taught to pursue. They had strict guidelines, and those were, being with friends, working to benefit others rather than caring about money, just overall staying positive, um, and not lavishing over luxury cars or expensive jewelry or designer clothes, which, to me is pretty good. Where am I? Though the thought of death was always on your mind, I feel when you're having fun, focusing on the good, it would be really easy to alleviate these thoughts that are kind of on your mind. Because I know for me, when I'm hanging out with friends, I'm not really thinking about anything else. I'm just in the moment, I'm having fun, having a good time. And I feel like it would be pretty easy with these teachings. The way you're always around friends, stuff like that, always having happy thoughts. I also like the lack of brain power that I feel would be involved with their teachings. And the lessons lack logic, and that just makes the thought of focusing on having more fun and doing good deeds for others honestly sound like a dream. So I think overall, I would be even more nice than I already am, showing everyone respect. So my response to things like plagues, wars, and injustices wouldn't be too violent, honestly, at all. Because if anything, I would be trying to avoid, violent interactions, ones that could get me killed, just because I know in my head that my soul isn't going anywhere once it's gone. Once I'm dead, my soul's dead. So yeah, that is my whole perspective. Sorry, I'm kind of sick right now. Stuffy nose, a little bit of a cough and stuff. So hopefully you could understand me.